Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Madness here on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is good old MF Michael Pledger alongside Anthony Flair and Michael Bullock. We're just going to dive right on in. We got a lot to talk about tonight, so we're going to start it off with NXT and the first week of Halloween Havoc. So, with that said, we started it off. Okay, hold on. Oh, there we go. So, we started it off with the first fight of the night, which was a part of the spin the wheel, make the deal. Kiana James going one on one with Roxanne Perez. This one was a Devil's Playground match. And, well, when it was all said and done, the winner of the bout, 10 minutes and 51 seconds, was Roxanne Perez. She gets the win here. Uh, Look, I'm going to say it. Hardcore match, definitely a little more violent than you normally would see on WWE programming. So, they kind of go with that PG mantra, whatever you want to call it. And they went a little more deeper into this. So it was a good match. It was a solid fight at 10 minutes and 51 seconds. And it was Roxanne Perez getting a big win. That's going to propel her up the rankings. You got to believe. And maybe, I don't think this rivalry with her and Kiana James is over by a long shot. But with Roxanne Perez getting a win, you got to believe that she has to be in the conversation for obviously getting another opportunity at the women's title. We'll see if that happens down the line, but definitely a great match. I'll say 3 stars to start it off. So solid opener for the Halloween Havoc. And Anthony Floyo, I'll give it to you.
Well, I'll tell you, MF, this was a smooth brawl, much cleaner than it looked to be on paper. Roxanne Perez was clearly in the driver's seat, moving the action through some fun set pieces. While it could have been bigger, it was a solid start to the show. Perez picked up an important win that will continue to propel her back to the top of the women's division. Kiana James loses nothing here as she was working out of her element in the Devil's Playground. If anything, she continues to look better with each performance, solidifying an expected call-up sooner than later. And only one notable observation, and that is during the action, Kiana James took some rough hits to the head, leading to a visible bump on her forehead. But other than that, 3 to 3.25 stars. I agree with the rating. You got that one perfectly. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, come on in. Big win for Roxanne Perez as she defeats Kiana James in the Devil's Playground to kick off the 2-week Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, 3.25. I mean, this was a very good match here to start off the 2-week Halloween Havoc, and a nice win for Roxanne Perez. I mean, and you could just see from Kiana James. I mean, she took a really big bump, and as you noticed it, but it was a solid opener. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say except let's move on to the next match.
Well, the next match, guys, was a highly anticipated Lexis King, a.k.a. Brian Pillman Jr., makes his debut in NXT against Dante Chen. And when it was all said and done, winner of the bout in 4 minutes and 12 seconds was Lexis King. Anthony Florio, I'm hearing a lot of love from a lot of the fans saying how great this Lexis King came in. Some people went as far to take shots at AEW, saying that WWE has already made him better than anything AEW did in their entire career. Agree or disagree?
100% agree. Absolutely. Ooh. I absolutely agree. AEW done effed him up.
I second that.
AEW done effed him up. Simple as that. I mean, he had some moments, but it led to nothing. He was a background player. I mean, we didn't really see him or Griff Garrison, when they were the Varsity Blondes. I mean, we didn't hear anything out of him hardly. But recently, anyways. But all right, let's get it out of the way here. This was a fairly standard squash match. Lexis King is more polished than the typical newcomer to NXT, but he also has higher expectations on him due to his pedigree in AEW history as Brian Pillman Jr. This young man has a chance to establish himself as a big name in NXT, charting a course similar to Eddie Thorpe as the new era of the brand develops. No one truly knows King's full potential yet. His new name may not be the best gimmick on its own, but it should allow him to build a legacy separate from his late father, Brian Pillman. King appeared while sitting on a throne, and while on his way down the ramp, he said, "Brian Pillman is dead. Long live Lexis King." And that's really all. I mean, there's no other notable observations. I mean, he did lose his bandana a minute into the action. I think it's probably best to leave that off for future matches, but other than that, 2 to 2.25 stars is the best I can give it. But it was a fun little sprint. I mean, that's really all we can say here. So there isn't much more to say here. Michael Bullock, I mean, AEW done messed this young man's career up. I mean, he was mainly lost in the shuffle. I mean, you would only see this guy on, like, say, maybe Dark or Elevation or what have you, maybe even some rampages here and there. But like I told MF last week, you weren't here, but I told MF, if they play the cards right, and I got a good feeling that they will, especially with who's running creative nowadays, I see this young man going straight to the top.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I second that too. And yeah, Tony Khan and AEW really effed him up. I mean, yeah, he had some moments here and there, but he just got lost in the shuffle. And I think with him, especially now as Lexis King, I think the expectations are sky high for him. And I think now with Triple H running creative, I think he could give this guy a fair chance and to really push this guy. So we'll see what happens. So 2 stars is my rating. Yeah, good first showing for him. Yes, it was a squash match, but it was a fun little sprint. So yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say except MF. As far as me and Anthony are concerned, Tony Khan really effed it up and really never gave him a chance. But what says you?
You know what? I kind of be one of those where I'll wait to see what I'll go with before I say anything. He's got the charisma. He's got the attitude. I like it. I think he'll flourish there. The in-ring ability we still need to see what he brings to the table. Now, as far as that, if they messed him up or not, I know some fans are saying yes, they did. I know others are saying it's too early to say one way or the other. I think it's too early, honestly, to say if they messed it up or not. I say that Lexis King is definitely going to be very interesting, and I love the vignette that they brought him in. I love the body of work that they brought him in. I think he's going to be a good starter. But as far as going beyond that, I don't know. We'll wait and see how it plays out. But yeah, it's a 2-star bout because it is a traditional squash. So there wasn't anything that really would have said, "Oh my God, this guy's going to be a star" or anything like that. It was a great introduction. Good first match. He gets the win, no doubt about it. Definitely deserves it. Obviously, you want to give him all the momentum and everything else to build him up into something big. So, great start. Nothing more to say. Now we have Kalani Jordan versus Ariana Grace in the semifinal of the Women's Breakout Tournament. When it was all said and done, winner of the bout, 7 minutes and 35 seconds, going to the finals is Kalani Jordan. She wins it. So, Michael Bullock, I give it to you. Kalani goes to the finals, wins it in 7:35.
Yeah, I'll give this about maybe another somewhere between two and a half here. I mean, yeah, Kalani Jordan. I mean, now she's on to the finals of the breakout tournament. So I mean, some people are saying that maybe, I mean, that she going into this, that she was the favorite. So she's in the finals. Now the only question is, can she can she cash in on it come next week? We'll have to wait and find out. But uh, 2.5. It's yours, Fletch.
About a solid 2 again. I think it was a solid performance by her. I think a lot of people kind of felt like, is this going to be her moment, her time to shine? We'll wait and see how it plays out. But for her to win the match, for her to win it and to advance to the final, I think they did a really good job with it. So I don't think there's anything more to say. So yeah, give me Kalani. Like we said, going into this, I think we all felt like Kalani was the favorite. We all thought that she was going to win it all, and I think it's possible. So there's really nothing more to say. So Anthony, it's yours.
This was a solid showing from two up-and-coming talent in NXT. While Kalani Jordan seemed to hold back, working at Ariana Grace's pace, they built the drama together in the ring to a memorable homestretch. This is not a match most will seek out, but it served as a sign that NXT has multiple interesting female wrestlers to watch among its next generation of stars. Kalani Jordan winning was predictable. She should probably be, she probably could, be the, she'll probably be the favorite in whoever comes out of the other match in the final as the most ready-made star in the women's division. Jordan hit a standing somersault leg drop for a near fall. Grace responded by throwing her into the second rope and hitting a side suplex for her own near fall. So that's all there is to say on this. 2.5, 2 3/4 of a star. That's the best I can go. So with that, MF, let's move on.
All right. With that said, we do indeed move on. And I believe this is one of the big fights of the evening that we're going to get into now. Yes, it is. For the NXT Tag Team titles, the champions, the family, the Dawn, Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks Lorenzo going up against Chase University's own Andre Chase and Duke Hudson, winners of the bout in 11 minutes and 19 seconds, and new NXT Tag Team Champions, Chase University, Andre Chase, and Duke Hudson wins the championships. Anthony Florio, history was indeed made. I won't call it an unprecedented crowning, though. There was a little bit of chicanery at the end, thanks to a major assist by JC Jane that led to Chase U winning the gold.
11 minutes and how many seconds?
19 seconds.
3 1/4, 3.5. This was genuine fun to watch. The action was fast and heavy. Chase U and the family competed like top tag teams, delivering for a raucous crowd that was invested in the action. While it was a shame to see the family lose the gold so soon, this has been a long time coming for Chase U. One of the best stories in NXT, this group has gotten over through sheer dedication to the gimmick. It is especially good to see Duke Hudson finally win a big one. He has had a rocky road in WWE since signing 3.5 years ago, but it has all come together in the last year. The family wished Chase U luck backstage before the match. Duke Hudson got the hottest tag of the night, running over both members of the family, including slamming the underboss on top of the Don. Chase took a superplex into a diving headbutt, but the MVP threw D'Angelo into the pinfall to barely break it up. So, great action. Biggest win in the careers of both Andre Chase and Duke Hudson. Great moment for them and for Chase U. So 3 1/4, 3.5 stars. So Michael Bullock, you got yourself some new tag team champions. How you feeling about it? Bullock, are you there? There you are.
Yeah, I was just trying to unmute myself. So to me, this was a long time coming for this I mean, this team, they've been through so much during their time. I mean, everybody was wondering, will Andre Chase and Duke Hudson, will they ever get any gold in NXT? And they did it. Yeah, there was some chicanery with JC Jane, but all in all, congratulations to Andre Chase and Duke Hudson, the new champs. Much deserved as far as I'm concerned. So 3.25 stars is my rating for the match. So it's yours, Fletch.
3.25 stars, no doubt about it. Excellent title match, no doubt about that. The right team won. I'm going to say it. The right team won. The right team deserves this moment. I don't think there's much argument on that as well. So we just lead us to the next match. Lights out. It was Blair Davenport versus Gigi Dolan. Blair Davenport wins it in 12 minutes and 32 seconds. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'll give this about maybe three and a half on this one. I mean, I thought it was a solid match here, but to me, I think the right woman went over on this one because maybe it's time that we continue to take Blair Davenport seriously. I mean, so yeah, I mean, nice win for her. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say except Fletch. Blair Davenport gets a much needed win in a match like this.
Yeah, much needed win and also a momentum shift for her because, she was sputtering. She was having a little bit of a rough go at the point. There was really nothing for Blair, and now she got a big win that hopefully will propel her back up the ranks and for her to be in the line for an NXT title shot as well. We talked about how Roxanne Perez win earlier in the evening over Kiana James might be a launch pad for her. This one here was definitely a launch pad to beat Gigi. To beat Gigi here will definitely help Blair because Blair was at the point kind of in the middle of a look see here, and we're hoping for them to get a big jump, and this could be it. We hope this could be the big jump. So we'll wait and see how it plays out. Anthony Florio, 3.25, 3.5 for me. This was a hell of a fight. Lights out, not bad. Blair Davenport wins. The right person went over.
To your delight, MF, because we all know how much how much you love Blair Davenport. You're a big fan, as we know. One of your favorites, and this would be considered a MF and Tony special here, because I love me some Gigi Dolan, and MF loves him some Blair Davenport. He's followed Blair Davenport's career very extensively, and a big win for Blair Davenport, and what was I'll tell you what, I do have some small criticism though. Too much time was spent setting up spots, probably affected by the dark lighting. That's a shame because the action was solid. These two clicked much more in this setting than they did in their first encounter. If they had just focused on brutalizing each other in the ring rather than setting up tables at ringside, it could have been an even bigger breakout match for both. Blair Davenport needed to win this as she remains one of the most interesting stars in the women's division. She needs more credibility before she can step up to someone like a Becky Lynch or any of the other top women stars in NXT. Davenport took at least half a minute setting up a table in the limited light. It was used for the best spot of the match with the Falcon Arrow. That's really all there is to say. So, but, constructive criticism aside, I will give it 3.5 stars. One of the fights of the night for sure. So with that, MF, Kalani Jordan earlier in the night, she advanced to the finals of the breakout tournament. Let's find out who her dance partner is going to be in that final match next week.
It's either going to be Carmen Patrovic or it will be Lola Vice. When it was all said and done, it is indeed Lola Vice winning it in 3 minutes and 36 seconds. All right. disappointing. Worst fight of the night. You can easily call that. You can even call this a cool down match because that's exactly what it was, a cool down. It was very rough in areas. I'm happy Lola goes over because I think you got the two very good established at the end. Lola Vice and Kalani Jordan. They've both been having a lot of airtime on NXT. So for me, this is the perfect final to have in the breakout tournament. If Kalani wins it or Lola wins it, would be I don't think you're gonna get much gripe from the three of us because, like we said, we've seen them two really shine on the NXT spotlight. I know Lola is very well known on Level Up. Kelani, same thing on Level Up as well. So we'll see how this final will look. But at the end of the day, right person went over, right person won. So Anthony Florio, it's yours. I gotta call it worst fight of the night, and I'll even go say maybe 1.25 stars. It was very this was a very rough fight to watch.
It was the worst fight of the night, 1 to 1.5. It was shorter than it should have been, but Carmen Petrovic stood out in the time she got. Her offense looked crisper than her last outing. That did come at Lola Vice's expense, as the two were mostly hitting moves rather than working in tandem. The obvious result happened once again, as Vice has dominated the field. However, she has yet to really compete. She will need to have a complete match with Kalani Jordan next week. At this point, Kalani Jordan is far readier for a title shot than Lola Vice. This started fast as Petrovic planted Vice with a running flip kick. She responded by throwing Petrovic over the top rope. And that's really, that's the only real notable moment out of this. So 1.5, worst fight of the night by default. So Michael Bullock, you got your final. Kalani Jordan, Lola Vice. Finals of the breakout tournament this Tuesday night on Halloween night.
Yeah, worst fight of the night, 1 star. Yeah, this match was rough and too short for my liking. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So let's move on, Fletch.
All right, and it leads us to the main event of the evening, the NXT women's title on the line, as it was Lau Valkyria getting the opportunity of a lifetime to go up against Becky Lynch for the title. And oh, by the way, they didn't just have the NXT universe in the building. There was one major surprise as well. Jade Cargill was in the building. She also was watching, looking on as the title match was going down. Winner of the bout, 16 minutes and 6 seconds, and new NXT Women's Champion, Lau Valkyria. She wins the title, toppling the man. History made, unprecedented crowning. Anthony Florio, you said you had a hunch. You thought it could possibly happen. It happened. We have ourselves a new champion. Take a bow, my friend. You called it. You got it. There was a little bit of some hesitation from Michael Bullock. Myself, I was like, if it happens, why not let it happen here? You were like, nah, I'm all in. I'm throwing the chips. Go to the pay window, my friend, because you cashed out some big money. You got a big money hit on this one last night.
Got to throw the Jesse laugh in on this one. So, all right, let me get into the business at hand first. And then I got a message for MF Bullock and anybody else who may have had doubts about this. All right, let's get the serious business out of the way here. Fight of the night, 4 to 4.25 stars. This was a star-making performance. Lyra Valkyria seemed to genuinely have the number of the man, showing how much she has scouted her over the years. She countered Becky Lynch's best shots with precision. It was a dramatic bout that built to one of the most shocking near falls of the year, as Lyra Valkyria was the rare woman to kick out of the manhandle slam. NXT must carry this forward. It's time to let the best in-ring performer in the company fly. She has a host of exciting new challengers coming for her and can define the next 6 months or more for the gold brand. Becky Lynch did so much in a short time for the stock of the NXT Women's Championship. WWE should let Lyra Valkyria look just as good on Raw as well as in NXT. Jade Cargill appeared on the stage and watched the match from a throne. Dueling chants for Becky and Lyra were loud and often throughout. The man missed a baseball slide. The Valkyrie responded with a swinging dropkick to the floor and then brought Becky Lynch back to the ring for a hanging leg drop for a near fall. Becky Lynch barely escaped a leg trap double arm stretch, but Lyra Valkyria kept hold and transitioned into a sheer drop suplex. The man managed to kick out of the roundhouse kick, but the Valkyrie managed to kick out of the manhandle slam to the shock of everyone. When she kicked out of that move, that's when I knew, oh my goodness, this is really going to happen. So, what did I tell you guys? I mean, I thought maybe if they had kept it on Tiffany Stratton, maybe there was an outside chance Lyra would dethrone her. But then Becky got the title, went over Stratton, and based on the aggression that I had seen from her in the week or two prior to this match, that's when I knew this was going to happen. I am not at all surprised with this outcome. I was worried. I mean, when Becky hit the manhandle slam, I'm like, oh, geez, it's over. And then when she kicked out, that's when I'm like, okay, this is going to happen. I believe this is going to happen. And to anybody who may have had doubts about this outcome, this message is not directly for MF and Bullock, but it's to anybody who may have had doubts. And I could, send this message to MF and Bullock as well, but I'm not going to do that. This is only for the pure doubters out there who may have had doubts about this title switch and my calling it. I don't ever want to hear any of you doubt me again. Never, ever again. Don't ever doubt me. I ain't no Johnny come lately on the block, So I was damn near over the moon. I was so happy to see Lyra win this. I mean, nobody's been higher on this young lady more than I have since I realized the potential this young lady had when she made her debut. And I'm like, well, I thought maybe a year or so she would be champion. I never thought in just I don't know how long she's been there, but it's probably been a good several months or so. But nonetheless, here she stands as the NXT Women's Champion. Not to say Becky was not a deserving champion. It was nice to see her, finally become Grand Slam Bex and all that. Give her another nod to her resume when they give her the keys to the Hall of Fame, when she calls it a career, and they will. Passing up the torch, gentlemen, and you couldn't ask for a more deserving champion, a more than capable champion, someone who I damn sure know is ready, to take on the pressures of becoming the NXT Women's Champion. So, congratulations, Lyra Valkyria. I knew you could do it. And I'm not at all surprised that this title switch happened. I told you guys it was going to happen. Just don't ever doubt me again. That's all I'm going to say. Never, ever again. So with all that being said, fight of the night, 4 to 4.25 stars. History made. Unprecedented crowning. You damn right it is. You damn right it was, MF. No doubt about it, Monsoon. So, Michael Bullock, come on in. Time for you to eat that slice of humble pie there, big boy. You said that you had your doubts, but lo and behold, my man, you got yourself a new NXT Women's Champion, and oh my goodness, get ready, man. This young lady, now that you strapped the rocket on her, she's gonna take that women's division, I believe, in the immortal words of Cameron Grimes, to the moon.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I gotta eat that slice of humble pie. I mean, I was the one who I had some doubts. I mean, because I thought, I don't know why. For some reason, I thought maybe it was going to be too soon to put the title on her. But yeah, I guess WWE is really high on this young lady, and this was the ultimate passing of the torch that we saw here tonight. And what we saw when Becky presented the belt to Lyra Valkyria, what did that remind you guys of?
WrestleMania 6, Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior.
Well, there's
Exactly.
been quite a few. No, there's been quite a few. Remember Cena also when The Rock gave the belt to Cena as well after 29. So there's been a few instances of the passing of the torch.
Yeah, and that was the ultimate passing of the torch from one Irish woman to another. And Lyra, you got everything to be proud of, and enjoy it, young lady. And this is a moment I'm sure you will never forget. And there are big things coming for you. So yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more for me to say except fight of the night, 4 1/4. A great way to close out night 1 of Halloween Havoc. So yeah, so Fletch, it is yours.
Yeah, like you said, it was a great main event. It was a great title match. History being made with the winner and new champion, Lyra Valkyria. It was a great title match. Becky trying to get the belt, losing the belt, to do what they did was absolutely incredible. Well done. And the thing is that everybody's like, did Becky really need the belt in the first place? Was this, in a way, yes. Why? To elevate the women's division, that when they find the one, that one is gonna get a monster push. And Lyra is the one. She gets the title. The Valkyrie now has the gold. She gets a momentous push than any other woman that gets the golden moment. And now the question becomes, can she sustain it? That's going to be the major test. Now, everybody's like, oh, but what about Jade Cargill? Relax. She's not going after the NXT women's title. That belt is beneath her. We all know Jade Cargill was there just to stick it, just to see the man lose, to say, I would, knowing that you're not the man anymore, that I'm going to start to run around Monday Night Raw and start making the rough shot. She's been showing up on every program, and you want to know why? For the ratings, for the pop, for the social media. And everybody knows she's heading to Monday Night Raw. It's a foregone conclusion. She will end up on Raw eventually and wrestle on the red brand. It is a foregone conclusion. But for her to be around just to sit in and watch the action, she's not watching for the NXT women's title. She's watching to see if the man was going to falter, if the man was going to fall, if the man was going to come up short, like the Buffalo Bills did against the Patriots on Sunday. But by all means,
we're going to get
I
into that.
didn't stutter when I said that.
Yeah, WrestleMania.
I didn't stutter when I said that.
Been trying to forget about that. You just brought it back into my mind. Thanks.
Yeah. Memo to you about that little comment you made earlier. I'm not one to listen to authority. You know that. Anyway. At the end of the day, that's why she was there. Now she's going to revel in the fact that Becky Lynch lost, and Beck's going to be like, you know what? Well, while you and I do this, we need a fight. We need to settle this because I don't like your tone. You're coming in here with your high horse thinking you're the biggest thing in wrestling. You're the biggest thing in sports entertainment where you haven't even had a match in WWE yet. Becky, do you know what Jade Cargill did in AEW? I mean, TBS champion, longest reigning TBS champion.
508 days.
508 days. Not only that, but had a win-loss record of, what was it? Almost, you know the record.
60,
I know she
60. I believe it was 60-2.
60-2. And that was not even anything. Like 60 wins to 2 losses in AEW. I mean, yeah, the body of work says it for herself. And she's been in some very good matches. There's been some bad ones. I'm not gonna gloss over that. But there's been some good matches. But I'll tell you this, man. You throw Becky Lynch and Jade Cargill as her first match in WWE, you got yourself a banger right out of the gate. So that's why she's there. She was just there just to see if the man was everything that it's cracked up to be. Trust me, the man is not afraid to step into the spotlight. She's big time Bex. We all know that. It's just that last night, the Valkyrie got her. But she deserved the moment. She deserves the victory. She deserves all the accolades and all the love and all the appreciation she's getting right now. And Anthony Floyo said it. Look at all the competition she's going to get coming up in NXT. Because you're going to think Tiffany Stratton's going to want another shot at that belt. You also got Roxanne Perez. She's coming off a big win. You got Blair Davenport. She's coming off a big win. You got to think that whoever wins this breakout tournament between Kehlani Jordan and Lola Vice, they're going to be looking for a shot at the NXT Women's Championship. And we're not even talking about another person who's been on the shelf named Nikita Lyons. She has not even been in the ring because I think she tore her ACL. And she hasn't even been in the ring. And we all remember when she was out there, we all were thinking that she was going to be the one that was going to be the NXT Women's Champion before she blew out her knee. So there is enough players in NXT right now that can say, I want the belt. And you're standing in the way, Valkyrie. You know what? Anthony Floyo gave you that high praise, saying, questioning everybody who doubted about your opportunity to be the champion. Now it's time to prove Anthony Floyo right. It's put up or shut up time, Missy. And it better start, right away, putting that title on the line against some of the best women in NXT right now. And I know Shawn Michaels and Creative, they are salivating, putting some of these matches already up there. So you want to prove Anthony Floyo right. This is the time and the moment to show it. Because right now, it's easier. It is great when you're the hunter. Now we got to see what you are. Now you're the hunted.
You know what Jesse always used? You know what Jesse once said, MF? The wolf climbing the hill is that one saying that he had at WrestleMania 5. The wolf climbing the hill, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to remember it off the top of my head, but it'll come.
It basically, I'll use the term from Jerry the King Lawler from WrestleMania 12 when Shawn Michaels realized his dream and won the WWE title over Bret Hart. I'll give you all the credit in the world, but when it's one thing when you try to keep the title, it's a harder thing to keep of winning the title. It's harder to keep the title. This may be the hardest road she's gonna have to go through. And the thing is she capable for the moment? Last night proves that yes, she could be capable of the moment. But keeping and holding on to the title might be the hardest thing she's ever going to have to do, not only in her entire career, but in her entire life. And can she keep up that pace? That's going to be the test for our young champion. Great way to close it off. Michael Bullock, come on in. Give me your quick thoughts on NXT Night 1 of Halloween Havoc. What's your overall rating, my brother?
Yeah, I thought it was a good first night of Halloween Havoc. I mean, there were some things I thought they could have been better. I mean, obviously, the worst fight of the night was that the other semifinal of the women's breakout tournament. But other than that, I enjoyed it. So I'm interested to see what night two is going to bring next week. So I'll give this about maybe 7.5. So it's yours, Fletch.
It's about a 7.5 for me. Absolutely, no doubt about it. Excellent show. We only had one real bad fight, but other than that, solid to good. I think the right individuals that did what they had to do, they won their matches. But oh my goodness, like I said, week 2 coming up, and on Halloween Havoc, we also had another spin the wheel, make the deal, as it's going to be Los Lotharios versus the Creeds in a TLC fight. Of course, the final of the women's breakout tournament. And then, of course, the main event, the big one, Dragunov Melo 3 for the NXT World title. Of course, some people, a lot of people were saying that they believe that Melo was the reason Trick Williams got jumped. It looks like it might be Melo, but I will throw a sidebar here. I think there's one other person we also need to think about. Wesley. I'm throwing his name out there because, Wesley also has the same issues that with Trick Williams. Obviously, I think it is Melo who did it, but I would not be surprised if they want to throw a swerve and say that Melo didn't do it. The perfect culprit would be Wesley. And if Wesley did it, oh boy, am I going to have a lot of crowing to say. And I might go just as bold as Anthony Florio did here tonight. But that's just my thoughts. Anthony, it's yours. Give me your thoughts, and then we'll get into AEW.
With all due respect, gentlemen, I think you underscored this a little bit. I'm going to give this between 8 and 8.5. Halloween Havoc Night 1 felt like an emphatic statement. After relying a bit too heavily on main roster stars recently, last night's show put the focus back on the talented roster. It delivered shocking title changes, fantastic in-ring action, and direction to the future that continued to showcase the longevity of the Gold brand. While this was not a perfect show, it was one of the most exciting ones NXT has produced. In particular, it highlighted the women's division in a way no other WWE show has in years. 5 women's matches on that show last night, guys. The majority of the airtime for the night was driven by a respect for a growing women's roster that is arguably outshining the men's as of late. Even without Becky Lynch, that should only continue. Sprinkle in a welcome NXT Tag Team Championship change for good measure. Chase U has finally done it, and hopefully Duke Hudson and Andre Chase get time to deliver as title holders. Night 2 has a tough act to follow, even with an exciting rematch of Carmelo Hayes versus Ilya Dragunov for the NXT Championship. Night 1 has earned Shawn Michaels and the booking crew and Michael Bullock some deserved trust for what is to come. It's 8 to 8.5 for me. So with that, gentlemen, let's get into a just as exciting edition of AEW Dynamite from the Illadelph, as you would say, MF.
Yeah, Illadelph is a not so happy Illadelph, unfortunately, obviously off the heels of losing the National League Championship Series to the Arizona Diamondbacks. We'll get into that. Well, we'll think about it, or we might give a brief thought about it. We're not going to go full in depth like we do with the Buffalo Bills game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's coming up in a little bit, but it is what it is. So we started off for AEW Dynamite from Philadelphia, and we actually started off with our first fight of the night for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. AEW World Champion and one half of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, MJF, going up against Juice Robinson, winner of the bout. 15 minutes even. And still the keeper of the Dynamite Diamond ring for yet another year, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF. I'm surprised. This was stunning. I thought that the diamond ring was gone. I thought that Juice Robinson was gonna win it. I thought he was gonna get it for Bullet Club Gold, and that was gonna be the one thing. This makes me a little nervous now because of the fact of him getting over on Bullet Club Gold. It now makes me very fearful that Jay White is winning the AEW World title now. And God help me if this son of a bitch wins that title. I mean it. I am going to lose my shit if that prick wins that belt. I mean it. You thought it's going to be bowling shoe ugly? It will if Jay White wins that gold. I'm just warning you guys. This was a 3.5 to 4-star bout. Nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Oh, man, MF. Wow. Now I want to see it happen. I want to see you go off.
Oh, please. I hope it doesn't happen because
I will go so hard. I will go so Jesse on this one. I'm going to take the ha-ha to a new level if that happens.
Dude, you better not do that. You better not do that because Fletch will go Viper mode on your ass if that happens.
This is true.
Because of his hate for Jay White.
Yes.
So
forget the.
If it does happen, you better keep your words soft and sweet because you might have to eat them later if it happens.
And if I have to, I will. So I already am. So in another way, but yep. And a fair warning: if that does happen, yeah, you're not going to get the good old MF side of Michael Fletcher. You're going to get the Cerebral Viper side, and that's the side you don't want. Trust us, Bullock and I. We know what it's like. Trust me. So all right. All kidding aside, 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star for me. They did a great job making it clear that the AEW champion was just as desperate to keep the diamond ring that has won him so many matches as he is to get back his world title. He played to the crowd, but he was also aggressive and dished out a lot of punishment in what was mostly a one-sided bout until the Guns provided a distraction. If one was asked to classify a match as pro wrestling or sports entertainment, this would definitely be the latter. Even though they weren't trying to make this a 5-star classic, they were overserving the crowd with spots that they knew would get a pop or a laugh. The Stray Bullet tried to use his fake diamond ring, but MJF had the real one on his finger. He nailed Robinson while referee Bryce Remsburg was busy with the Guns and scored the pin to retain his ring once again. The Kingdom came out and fought with the Guns when they attacked MJF, but they were driven out of the ring. Bullet Club Gold was about to finish the champ off when the Acclaim showed up to make the save. This was a fun way to open up the show and get the crowd in the right mindset. The Guns have the best. All right. No, actually, let me take that back. Juice Robinson was busted wide open and had blood all over his face, which made him look even more manic than usual. Jay White was great when he joined commentary. He is always so funny without even trying, which makes him a great partner for the always funny Juice Robinson. And Jay White made a big deal about someone at the desk calling MJF the world champion instead of him. But he got pretty quiet when he found out it was Taz. But this was a 3.5 to 3 3/4 star match. There's that part of me that still believes MJF's going to find a way to win because of the fact that, the whole possession thing, we've seen it so many times where a challenger steals the champion's belt for an extended period of time, only for the champion to go over in the eventual title match and get the title back. And next week, we're going to have ourselves an 8-man tag team match. All 4 members of Bullet Club Gold, Jay White, Juice Robinson, and the Guns going up against MJF and three partners of his choosing. It's going to be very interesting to see who those 3 partners are. And the stipulation is if MJF's team wins the match, then Jay White must give MJF his title belt back. If that happens, maybe MF's theory comes into play. I don't know. We'll have to wait and find out. But remember, there's a lot of other guys who want a shot at MJF, including what we saw after the match. Kenny Omega challenged MJF for an AEW World Championship match. Because remember, today marks 340 days for MJF as the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Kenny Omega holds the record for the longest reign, 346. Well, we got perhaps, without question, gentlemen, I believe coming up this Saturday night on AEW Collision from the Mohegan Sun, I think we're looking at maybe the biggest and most anticipated main event in the short history of AEW Collision. MJF versus Kenny Omega for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. If MJF wins, it's guaranteed he will break Kenny Omega's record for the longest reign as AEW World Champion in history. Kenny Omega wins, he becomes a two-time champion. And then things go really topsy-turvy. But to be honest with you, Omega will give MJF major fits. But let's be realistic. MJF's walking out still the champ. So he's going to break the record, I believe. I mean, we've seen this so many times. Every time we see these matches where somebody's close to breaking a record, the record ends up getting broken. Look at the Usos. Look at Gunther. MJF is next. Come Saturday night. 3.5, 3 3/4 of a star for me. So Michael Bullock, come on in. MJF keeps the Dynamite ring for the 5th year in a row. And this Saturday night, he now has to defend the AEW World Heavyweight Championship against Kenny Omega. And if he gets by Kenny Omega Saturday night on Collision, in the biggest main event in Collision history, MJF's going to be the new record holder as far as longest AEW World Title reigns go.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to break the record. I think he's going to beat Kenny Omega and surpass him, even though he won't have the title because that piece of shit known as Jay White still holds it. But like you said, with that 8-man tag team match, if MJF's team wins, he gets the belt back. So, yeah, like you said, if that happens, I mean, MF's theory could come true, and that would not be good because, as you've already seen, Fletch hates this guy. I mean, he hates him so much, it's almost like he wants to beat the crap out of him himself. But that could be the case. I mean, if it happens, I hope it doesn't, but we'll see. 3 1/4, 3.5 stars is my rating. And there's one thing that really irks me: the Guns. I mean, gosh, I hate them so much. They are just so annoying. I mean, with the way they talk, the way they brag, and I'm going to say they're nothing more than a couple of prima donna douchebags. So, I'll say it like this: your father has accomplished way more than what you two prima donnas have done. So, that's a little something I just got to get off my chest. So, it's yours, Fletch.
All right, and with that said, we do indeed move on to the next thing that we had on the show. Let's see if I can pull it up. It was Rob Van Dam and Hook going up against Alex Reynolds and John Silver of the Dark Order. And when it was all said and done, RVD and Hook wins the match in 7 minutes and 55 seconds. Anthony, Hook took the lion's share of the match, but RVD and him gets the victory.
2.5, 2 3/4 of a star. I'll tell you what, the match progressed with a pretty straightforward setup. The heels would take control and dominate for a little while, and then the babyfaces would make a comeback to pop the crowd. AEW tag matches can often have a lot of back and forth action, but this bout had a bit more focus on building up the hot tag than usual. It was fun to hear Taz reminisce about working with RVD in ECW while watching his son team up with another ECW alum. Good little match that mostly served as filler, but fun filler nonetheless. Hook has teamed up with the likes of Rob Van Dam, Danhausen, Orange Cassidy, and Absolute Ricky Starks at various points. We need to get a run of singles matches from him at some point. The mystique will die out if AEW doesn't do more with him soon. So that's really all I can say on this. 2.5, 2 3/4 of a star. Outcome never in doubt. So, Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, 2.5 stars for this. I mean, I'll tell you. I mean, RVD. It looks like he still got it. I mean, he held his own in this match. I mean, with Hook, and yeah, I mean, it looked like the Dark Order was gonna get something on him, but Hook and RVD basically came back and got the victory here. So, 2.5 stars is my rating. So it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, 2.5 stars, no doubt about it. Really nothing more to add here, so we're just gonna throw it right back to the next thing that we had on the show. All right, this is going to bring. This might bring the ECW side out of a few people because I saw a lot of comments that came out of this segment, and I think it needs to be addressed. Sting comes out and cut in a promo, and Tony Schiavone comes out and said, you know what? He wanted, Tony Khan had given him a gift, Sting a gift. What we had next was the introduction and the AEW debut of one of the greatest of all time. The biggest rival for Sting and for me and Anthony Florio, a beloved horseman was in the building. The horseman. The leader. What a goof. I'm a goof. I can't believe it. I forgot about the horseman himself. Ric Flair, get your butt ass out here.
Woo!
Woo!
Ric Flair in the building. Yes, the crowd goes nuts. We all kind of lost our minds. We could not believe what was going on. Ric Flair shows up at All Elite Wrestling. You think great moment, right? No. Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne all come out. What happened next was probably one of the most disgusting things you'll ever have seen in professional wrestling history. I am going to be I don't need to say anything because I know Michael Bullock and Anthony Floyd are going to say it for me. So I'm not going to go on a rant. I don't need to. I'm not. I'm going to let this be because Bullock and Florio themselves were really fired up and said they had a lot to say on this show. So I knew this was going to get ugly and very temperamental. So I'm just going to let it be. I'm going to sit by the sidelines. I'm just going to let the fireworks explode right about now. Anthony Florio, I'm just going to give it to you, my friend. Obviously, it was great to see Ric Flair. But what happened next? Oh, no.
Oh, no, yeah. It's right. All right. First things first. All right. Did anybody expect this?
No.
That's what I thought. I didn't think so either. I wasn't sure. I mean, I was excited when I heard about this. I mean, that Tony Khan was going to have a gift for Sting and that it was going to be a massive one. I had no idea it was going to be the Nature Boy Ric Flair. I mean, Ric Flair in AEW. The man, Nature Boy Ric Flair, who was the heart and soul of the NWA in the 1980s and in WCW in the early 90s. The 16-time World Heavyweight Champion, the jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun, the heart and soul of the Four Horsemen, the man responsible for giving us the greatest and my all-time favorite faction in Impact TNA Wrestling, the Fortune 4. Yes, sir. And as you see on my logo there, but nonetheless, it was so great to see Ric Flair. It conjured up all the memories of Sting and Ric Flair, all of their legendary battles that they had in their Hall of Fame careers. The inaugural Clash of the Champions, which Tony Schiavone was on the call with Jim Ross. Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone called that match. The inaugural Clash of the Champions, when those two battled it out in that 45-minute time limit draw for the World Heavyweight Championship in the Greensboro Coliseum. Oh, by the way, a show that aired that went head-to-head on the same day as WrestleMania 4, the legendary tournament. Unreal. Of course, the match that made Sting who he was today, the match that let us know that he was here, that he arrived, the Great American Bash, 1990, in Baltimore, when Sting became the World Heavyweight Champion for the first time, defeating Ric Flair in another incredible match. Sting and Ric Flair in that tournament, in that Future Shock tournament final, Starrcade 89. I could go on and on and on about the legendary battles those two had. When they unified the WCW International and WCW World Heavyweight Championships at a Clash of the Champions in 94 when Hogan came in. And let's also not forget, gentlemen, these two men had the final match in the history on the final episode of WCW Monday Nitro, March 26, 2001. We all remember it like it was yesterday. I know I damn sure do. Great to see them. Those I mean, I may not have shown any emotion during this, but in my mind, I was the tears were streaming down, man, just thinking about all the legendary moments and the stories about their legendary matches. I mean, that's why I love this business. And then leave it to a guy who I like to consider. Now, let me tell you something about Christian Cage, friends. Let me tell you about him. I'm going to go Jesse on this one. SummerSlam 89. I think MF, you better than anybody will remember what I'm about to say. I'll let Jesse Ventura. This guy's a lunatic. I don't like him. He goes by his own effing rules. And that's all there is to it, you know? So, and he doesn't give a damn. And Luchasaurus, big dumb dope. And of course, Nick Wayne, who I consider the Dominic Mysterio of AEW. A young little turd that you want to just punch in the mouth every time you see the sight of him. I mean, what business is it of Christian Cage? I mean, I get it. You want another match with Darby Allin and this whole thing, you know? You challenge Sting and Darby Allin to find a partner for a trios match against you, Lucha, and Nick Wayne at the Full Gear pay-per-view. Fine and dandy. But couldn't you have done it at another place and time, man? Couldn't you just let Sting and Ric Flair have their moment? Ugh.
And some of the things Christian Cage said that really, really irked me.
Yeah, what did he say that irked you? Chances are it irked me too.
Well, I gotta find it. I mean, I really gotta find this.
Yeah, you gotta do some digging on that one. But like I said, Christian Cage is a lunatic and an egomaniac. I don't like him. He goes by his own rules. I have no respect or tolerance for people like that whatsoever. Bullock hates him just as much as I do, if not more. But don't worry, Bullock. Soon enough, I know it might be a lot longer than we would like, but I do believe soon enough he'll get his, and I can't wait to see him get his. He will get his.
And he will get his.
And I wouldn't be surprised if a certain rated R superstar is the one that gives it to him. That's all I'm gonna say.
I believe. Oh yeah.
And I hope he goes angry.
I actually just found it.
Well, don't.
Well, here's some of the things. Some of the things he did say. Relax. I know Ric Flair is not dead. I also know there's not a God, because if there was a God, Ric Flair would have been dead 20 years ago.
Pig.
And it gets even worse. He says, one day I will be able to look at your sweet daughter Ashley and tell her that her father is dead.
No. Stick it in your ear, scumbag.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, Christian Cage, you can take all those things, those disrespectful things that you just said, and you can shove it up your effing ass.
Rudy Poo candy ass.
Yeah, I mean,
Does it matter what he thinks? Does it matter what he thinks? No, Christian, it doesn't matter what you think.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what he thinks. All he cares about is
running his mouth and talking out of his ass like a certain guy on WEEI radio does.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me going on him, because if we were doing sports, I would go off on this ham and egger jabroni just like I'm doing with Christian Cage right now.
I mean, get in line right behind you.
This is Sting's moment. I mean, he's retiring, and Christian Cage, and this was just a great moment to see Sting and Ric Flair in the same ring again.
Did it conjure up those memories for you, Bullet, like it did me?
Exactly. It did. And for this pompous ass to come out and ruin this moment is just flat out disrespectful. It's flat out wrong. And for him to make those disgusting and disparaging remarks about Ric Flair, especially it's one thing to say things about Ric Flair, but to bring up not only his health but his family as well, no. That is where I draw the effing line. And yet you got Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne, and Nick Wayne had the audacity to smile at everything Christian Cage says.
Dominic
yeah,
Mysterio,
don't think I've forgotten about you, especially after you disrespect your mom.
Yeah, sit-down interview with Jim Ross. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, what a
just like Dominic Mysterio. Trio, just like Dominic did with his mother, Angie.
What a trio of ingrates that we're seeing, led by the biggest ingrate, the biggest CLB. And you know what, Christian? You could just take that TNT title and you could shine up real good and you could shove it up your effing ass.
Just a prop. Just a prop.
I don't care if it's a prop. As far as I'm concerned, he can take it and shove it up his ass, because that's just what I think of him.
Amen. Amen.
Fletch, I mean, you can't help but, I mean, there's no way you can condone those disparaging remarks by Christian Cage, what he said, not just about Ric Flair's health, but his family as well.
Sweet Charlotte.
Yeah. I mean, he went down roads that you're not supposed to go. But again, this is what we talk about. Christian Cage has no regard for anything or anyone. I mean, if you're looking for nuclear heat, he got it. I mean, what you guys are talking about is exactly what fans wanted it to, this is what AEW wants. For us to be pissed off, for us to rant and rave about how Christian's such an evil individual and and everything else, but yet this is what we get. So I mean, is it warranted? I mean, what he said is absolutely I'm gonna say it was disgusting what he said. So, but at the end of the day, there's really nothing more for us to add. So.
But there's only a certain limit that you can do when you're pushing someone. I mean,
absolutely.
You want to build heat, that's fine. But to go down this path I can't condone it. I can't.
It's reckless. It's reckless. But the thing is that this is that line that you need this is the line that you got to be careful about, that you don't try to cross. But
Yeah,
I mean,
that's where Tony Khan's got to be very careful because
no,
there's.
Tony knows the line. He knows the line. He's got it. He's
Well,
not.
I'm just saying he just has to be very careful when towing that line
Yeah,
because
he knows
if
the line.
if you go past that line, a lot of people are going to turn away from that. I mean, that's just how I feel.
Got granted, agreed. But the thing is that Khan knows where that line is. He knows not to go there, not to cross it. And up to this point, yeah, they're walking on the edge, but they're not going over it. So we just gotta wait and see how it plays out. So
Mm-hmm. Pretty
we'll
much
just go.
that's it for my rant there. I mean, but don't be surprised it won't be the last.
Well, we'll see. All right. Next up we had was Adam Hangman Page, Nick Jackson and Matt Jackson, the Young Bucks, versus the Hardys and Brother Zay for the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team titles. The winners of the bout, 10 minutes and 15 seconds, was the Young Bucks and the Hangman. Michael Bullock, it's all yours.
All right. What was the time of the fall again?
10-15.
All right. I'll give this about 3.25 on this one. I mean, the outcome to me was never in doubt. I mean, with Hangman, the Young Bucks, retaining the titles, but you want to talk about, another thing you want to talk about another thing of going there, Fletch. We just saw another one. Swerve Strickland invaded the home of Adam Hangman Page and was talking to his baby. What was it? Like his baby girl, baby boy,
Girl.
All right, and again, this is towing that line, and Swerve Strickland, he went there with what he did, and the one thing you don't do is invade a family's home, because especially the father of that baby girl, because you're gonna be Swerve. You're gonna be dealing with a very pissed off and angry Adam Hangman Page. It's one thing to go after him, but when you invade his home and with those remarks to his young baby girl, you're going to be dealing with a very pissed off Adam Hangman Page, no doubt about it. So, 3.25 stars for this match, but Fletch, Swerve Strickland just made this personal.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. But they're saying that it was implied. That doesn't necessarily mean that he was actually there. So it looks like it was, but you don't even know. That's the creative thing about wrestling, is that we think it was there, but it's possible it wasn't. But at the end of the day, I was very, very, very shocked at what I saw. But yeah, I got nothing more to say. So Anthony, it's yours.
Even though this was a usual AEW trios bout with some fun sequences and moments, it never once felt like there was a sense of danger. The Elite retaining felt like a foregone conclusion, which made it harder to get into what was going on in the ring. Random title matches with obvious endings are bound to happen because they can strengthen a reign, but predictability can also impact the overall excitement. The Hardys looked better here than they have in months, but it wasn't enough to win them gold. The Elite scored the win, but were immediately interrupted by a video of Prince Nana and Swerve Strickland inside Hangman's house. Page jumped out of the ring and ran to the back, likely to call his family. The Ring of Honor 6-man tag titles feel like such an afterthought because the champions have not appeared on Ring of Honor television since winning them. If someone is about to be pinned and their partners are just casually standing on the apron like they are chatting at a bar, it makes it too obvious that the pin won't work. The silly string DDT Brother Zay hit on Hangman looked awesome. The video with Swerve was great. It made him look like such a villain. from a professional standpoint, that's what I'm getting at. From a professional standpoint, but from a personal standpoint, home invasions, yeah. It kind of reminded me of when Seth freaking Rollins did that to Edge a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Which I believe that led to their match at Madison Square Garden, I think. So on that SmackDown a couple years ago. But of course, the greatest home invasion angle ever was Triple H and Randy Orton. One that MF and I, oh, the fun we had with that on that night. Trust me when I tell you. But nonetheless, this was about 3.25 stars for the effort here. Predictable outcome. Outcome never in doubt. We all knew that Hangman and the Bucks were going to retain the Ring of Honor 6-man tag titles, and but that home invasion thing, like I said, from a professional standpoint, it was great, and it made Swerve look like an absolute monster villain heel here. That was great from the professional side, but from the personal side, I have a big problem with that. And but I understand you want to add heat to the angle, but anytime you do something like that, that's a little too far for me. So 3.25 stars. So with that being said, MF, let's move on to the other big championship match tonight, the Women's Championship, and a golden opportunity for a former WWE mainstay.
Yes, it was. It was Hikaru Shida putting the title on the line against Ruby Soho. Winner of the bout in roughly 9 minutes was Hikaru Shida. Look, fine match, good battle. The outcome was never in doubt. I kind of felt like Shida deserved the moment. However, after the next person showed up, and it was the timeless one, Toni Storm. And boys, here comes the next AEW Women's Champion. I don't care what the hell you guys think of her little vignettes. I don't care about her being cuckoo or crazier than a pet coon. They found a niche with Toni Storm. They found a gimmick that is so crazy, so over the top, and so unique. Not only are the fans eating it up, but it also got me a little intrigued. And you know me. For me, you got to do something really good to have my ears perk and catch attention. This person did it. Toni Storm has done it. And now I want her to get the belt back. Imagine the vignettes, these little videos with her with that belt, or her latest projects that she's going to throw down the line. I'm telling you, folks, Toni Storm has created herself from being a good individual to now must watch every week on AEW television, because you don't even know what the hell she's going to do next. I like it. I love it. And I want some more of it. Anthony Florio, the match was 3 stars. Got it. Hikaru Shida successfully defends the title. Got it. Toni Storm is the next challenger. And I'm going to go out on a limb with the next AEW Women's Champion. You're looking at her. It's yours.
First off, love the Tim McGraw reference. Nice. The I like it, I love it, I want some more of it. Yeah. All right, let's get into the business at hand on this one. It's hard to describe exactly what it was, but there was something off about this match. They didn't seem to be working at the pace either woman usually prefers, so it felt a little slow at times. The crowd got more into the action after the commercial break, and Ruby appeared to try to use the belt as a weapon right in front of referee Aubrey Edwards, but Hikaru Shida stopped her. Champion retained her title with a katana kick to end the bout. The crowd didn't seem to care about the result, but came alive when Toni Storm appeared. The crowd was unusually quiet during the early minutes of this bout. There was a weird moment on commentary when Taz apologized for talking over Tony Schiavone. He seemed very apologetic, even though it didn't seem like a big deal. And the way Soho tried to cheat made no sense. The ref would have seen her and disqualified her. We did get an Eddie Guerrero type moment, a lying and cheating and stealing moment when Ruby had the spray paint and planted it on Shida, making Aubrey Edwards think that Shida used the spray paint on Ruby Soho, but to no avail. Ruby did get a hope spot, though. Ruby did get one hope spot during this match. When she, I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head. It was, she had, I think it might have been the spray paint. I think the spray paint did come into play, and she hit her finishing move. And I'm like, oh my goodness, Ruby's going to win the title. No, she did not. Shida kicked down, and that's when I knew that Shida was going to go over, and she did. MF, you're absolutely right. That match will happen at Full Gear at the Kia Forum, the fabulous forum in LA, formerly the Great Western Forum. And I agree. I do believe Toni Storm and her crazier than a pet coon new gimmick of hers is going to walk out of Full Gear as the new AEW Women's Champions. So once again, and it's very likely going to be Shida, even though Shida is going to be defending the title again Saturday night on Collision against the winner of a four-way match that's going to take place Friday night on Rampage. Sky Blue, Willow Nightingale, someone we haven't seen in quite some time, Abaddon. Oh God, that one freaks me out. The only woman in the AEW women's division that creeps me out and grosses me out. Oh, she is so scary. Oh God, nightmare. Oh gosh. And there was one other, I forgot who was in that match along with those other, but the winner of that match will challenge Hikaru Shida for the women's title Saturday night on Collision at the Mohegan Suns. So a big moment for that. So not much more to say here. I agree with MF's rating. Solid 3 for the effort. Michael Bullock, it looked like for a moment that Ruby Soho was actually going to win the title. She actually did get a hope spot here, but Shida kicked out, and once she kicked out, you knew Hikaru Shida was going to successfully defend. And now Toni Storm is next. Yes, she is crazier than a pet coon nowadays, or as goofy as a pet coon nowadays. But I think we are looking at. I think Toni Storm will regain the women's title at Full Gear.
Yeah, I see that happening too. I mean, yeah, you can say what you want about the gimmick, but I do think she's going to walk out the champion. So, yeah, I'll give this about maybe 3 stars as well. I mean, yeah, there's no rest for the weary for Shida, because she's got to defend the title against the winner of that Fatal 4-Way on Rampage, and I'm going to go on the record of saying this, guys. I think Sky Blue is gonna win that, because the way you're seeing how she's evolving ever since what Julia Hart did, spraying that mist on her, the transformation is really starting to come together. And I think it's because of that. I think she's going to win that Fatal 4-Way and is going to challenge Shida for the title Saturday at Collision. So 3 stars is my rating. It's yours, Fletch.
3 stars, no doubt about it. I don't have anything else to say on that one. So that's exactly what happened. So there won't be anything more to say about that. Let's just move on, and we got ourselves the main event of the evening. You want to talk about a historic main event? Oh my God, this one was it. Claudio Castagnoli and the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, they went up against the most unlikeliest appearance in AEW. It was me see if I can find it here. Hold on. Oop, went a little too far. All right. It was. I got it. I got it, Floyo. Don't worry. I got it. All right. So it was. Let's see. It was Orange Cassidy and the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, the winner of the bout in 16 minutes and 35 seconds was Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli. I believe who leads off on this? Is it you, Anthony?
I believe I do.
All right, then it's yours.
No doubt about it. This was the fight of the night. 4 to 4.25 stars. Putting this match in the main event spot was a good decision because not only was Okada's Dynamite debut a big deal, but it ended up being the most technically proficient bout of the night. All four of these guys are great at what they do, but it was how they meshed their respective styles together that allowed them to create an entertaining performance. When Bryan Danielson and Kazuchika Okada finally got into the ring together, the crowd lit up. All four men contributed to a fantastic main event that had the crowd on its feet. In a somewhat surprising outcome, Claudio Castagnoli pinned Orange Cassidy after hitting a huge European uppercut. He immediately checked on Bryan Danielson after the bout because he was holding his mouth after an apparent injury. Several members of the locker room came out to see what was going on, and we almost got a fight between Hook and Wheeler Yuta. Tony Schiavone said they would stay with the match for as long as it took, so it was clear from the get-go that this would go over the usual time the show ends. Bryan Danielson faking a handshake just so he could kick out Cassidy's leg again was hilarious. Claudio Castagnoli countering a DDT into the Cesaro swing looked great, but the way he transitioned into a suplex that Orange Cassidy reversed into a stunner was really something. Some of his counters in this match almost don't look possible until you see him do it. It's a 4 to 4.25 star match. And what happened at the end, gentlemen? Claudio Castagnoli pinned the AEW International Champion. You know what that means? Championship committee moment. And the championship committee did not waste any time. They were on top of their game. They have already booked the immediate title bout at the earliest possible date. And that earliest possible date, next Wednesday night on Dynamite, Orange Cassidy to defend the AEW International Championship against Claudio Castagnoli. Ooh, I think we found our show stealer for next week. Don't be surprised if on this program next week we're calling that the fight of the night. 4.25 stars here, no doubt about it. Michael Bullock, I mean, what do we have to unpack from this? Championship committee moment, Claudio Castagnoli pinning Orange Cassidy, and now he's got an international title match next week on Dynamite. 2, the AEW Dynamite debut of the biggest star in Japan, their tribal chief, if you will, the face that runs that place, the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. But third and most importantly, Bryan Danielson after the match. Ooh, I hope he's all right.
Yeah, I really hope he is okay. I mean, hopefully we can get some updates from what happened, but yeah, Claudio Castagnoli is going to get his opportunity at the International Championship next week, and that could be another show stealer. But anywho, 4.25 fight of the night, no doubt about it. You pretty much said everything, so Fletch, it is yours.
4.25. Really nothing more to say here. So yeah, Michael Bullock, it's yours.
All right, for this edition of Dynamite, I'll give this about maybe a 7.5 to 8 on this one. I mean, you didn't really have a bad match. I mean, there were some things that I thought they definitely could have been better, but other than that, another solid edition of Dynamite. So it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, I'll go about I'll go about 7.5, close to 8. I thought they did a really good job. Really nothing more to say here, and yeah, it is all yours, Anthony.
Tonight's Dynamite had peaks and valleys, but the peaks were definitely more memorable. Building up the segment with Sting as something special, only you built it as something special, and to have the Nature Boy Ric Flair, amazing. Even with Christian Cage ruining it. AEW bookended the show with the best matches. Juice Robinson and MJF put on a fun performance in the opener, and the main event gave us the AEW Dynamite debut of Kazuchika Okada. Even though the action is usually the highlight on any pro wrestling show, the character work being done by Tony Storm, like it or not, has been some of the most entertaining stuff AEW has done in a long time. All in all, tonight's show won't stand out in the history of Dynamite too much, but it was a solid episode when everything is averaged out. So, the Sting and Flair Christian segment, that was the segment of the night, no question about it. So, 7.5 to 8. And now we move on to Thursday Night Football in what is, without a doubt, an absolute must-win game for my team, if you know what I mean, gentlemen.
Is it a must-win? Possibly, no doubt about it. Possibly a get-right game if you're a fan of the Buffalo Bills after what happened last week. But, you got yourself. It's not an easy one either. They're pretty. It's somewhat of a doozy. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers goes to Orchard Park, New York, and the Highmark Stadium, home of the Buffalo Bills, to take on the Buffalo Bills. You guys already know who's going to be doing it. It's on Amazon Prime Video. Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, Kaylee Hartung, Buffalo. 8.5-point favorite as of right now, with the over-under at 43.5. And let me tell you guys, if you guys were a betting line last week, it was a bad week for the players. The house absolutely was kicking the daylights out of the people. 70% of the games went the under. And let me tell you, if you put your money on any betting site, let's just say if it was MGM, if it was FanDuel, if it was DraftKings, they were taking your money blinded. We had losers across the board. Pat McAfee and the boys, as of who normally does hammer down. They took it on the kneecaps, folks. It was not a good night, to say the very least. Look, I think what happened with Buffalo is this. They played down to their competition. They were thinking it's the Patriots. The Patriots stink. They're not going to play well. We should win this, and we should win this going away. This should be another easy victory. They got exposed. They did. I don't care what anybody says. I don't want to hear the narrative. They got exposed. New England had a great game plan. They were able to neutralize Buffalo, making them one-dimensional. And the thing was, they held the football. They were actually able to put long sustaining drives, and they were moving the ball consistently down the field. Then the defense from New England made a couple of key plays. And the thing is, when you leave a team lurking around long enough, that if it gets down close to the end, that team starts to get a little tight, the other team that has nothing to lose won the game. That's exactly what happened last week. Buffalo came out overconfident, thinking it was going to be an easy victory because they've owned the Patriots, especially in the last few years. And they were thinking, we're going to make ourselves right at home in Gillette and beat the Patriots yet again. The Patriots showed a blueprint that if Tampa used this, they could beat Buffalo as well and put a 3-game losing streak on the Bills. But here's the problem. Buffalo, it's one thing to beat Buffalo like that. But when Buffalo comes off a loss, they play a lot more better, a lot more fluent, a lot more consistent. But the problem is, I have not seen consistency from the Bills in a month. Honestly, everything went wrong when they lost to Jacksonville. They did. Everything has gone wrong for Buffalo since that loss from Jacksonville. They were slurping and getting all the praise after they smashed the Miami Dolphins that they forgot to play football. They lost to Jacksonville and deserved to lose. Then was barely lucky to beat the New York Giants and very fortunate to win that game because they could have lost that game. And then they lost to the New England Patriots. We have not seen a consistent Buffalo Bills performance in almost a month. And I'm really honest with you folks. That's why I called them frauds. If you want to know why I called them fraudulent and called them a bunch of frauds and the whole 9 yards, look at what happened the last 3 weeks. And you honestly think this is the team that's supposed to be the team that's going to win the AFC and go to the Super Bowl? No, absolutely not. I don't believe it. I'm not buying it. I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid. Buffalo will get it right. They will ride the ship. They will win this game. No doubt. I got no faith in Tampa Bay. I think Buffalo will definitely turn it around. They'll get the win here, and they'll win this game. The one thing that does concern me, though, for Buffalo is the injuries are starting to pile up on the Buffalo Bills, especially defensively. They look like a shell of themselves. This is not the same defense that I saw that smashed Miami 48-20. Their team is prevalent on getting the pass rush, getting into those areas, and then JA-17 utilizing the field, doing a little bit of passing, but having a consistent running game. There is no running game with Buffalo. New England snuffed them out last week. So, Buffalo will win. They'll win this one, maybe convincingly, maybe 14 points, 17 points, something like that. But if anybody thinks this is going to be a blowout, not by the longest shot. And I know Anthony Florio has got a lot of venom in him right now because he knows this is a make or break for Buffalo because of the fact that there are doubters out there, not just me, but there's a lot of fans out there that are starting to say the same thing that I'm saying. This team is not an AFC championship team. This team is not Super Bowl caliber. Anthony Florio, like I said, their best performance was after they smashed the Miami Dolphins. But since that game, this has been a shell of what they've been looking like. 2 out of 3 losses. How do you turn this around?
Good question. I wish I knew. I honestly wish I knew, MF. I really do. When they beat Miami, when we smashed you boys a few weeks ago, I was, in the immortal words of the legendary James Blunt hit "You're Beautiful," when he said, we were flying high, man. We were flying high. Yes, we were. But yeah, about that. Not anymore, we're not. But, oh boy, howdy. I mean, MF is absolutely right. It was all because of what happened in London. I mean, the London game has been was the kryptonite. I mean, we were firing on all cylinders. And now we lose to Jacksonville. We had absolutely no business beating the New York Giants. Giants should have won that game. I will be open and honest with you about that. Pains me to say it, but it's true. Buffalo was fortunate to win that game. The referees gave them that game. They didn't win that game. The refs won it for them. with that non-call. And then against New England, just as it looked like we were going to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, New England goes and snatches victory from the jaws of defeat. And the referees gave them that game too, because they missed it. They initially threw a flag for an ineligible receiver, and then they pick it up. Really. But nonetheless, like I said in my post the other day, as you all know, I am a man of good faith, and I take good sportsmanship very seriously. And I tip my cap to Michael Bullock and everybody, all my friends who are New England Patriot fans. Well-deserved win, great game. You deserve to win that game. Absolutely. All right. Mini ran over. Now let's get into the business at hand when it comes to this. Not everybody has Amazon Prime Video. Understandable. So for the people of Tampa, Florida, you can watch the game on your Fox affiliate, WTVT Fox Channel 13. As for Bills Mafia, we need your support now more than ever, by the way, Bills Mafia. You can watch the game on the ABC affiliate, WKBW ABC Channel 7 in Buffalo. So Tampa, you can watch it on your Fox affiliate. Buffalo, you can watch it on your ABC affiliate. MF, what was the spread you had? What was it, 8.5 or something like that? If I remember right. So, but anyways, Tampa Bay leads the all-time series 8-4. Their last meeting, 2021. MF, you and I remember it. I mean, we had it. It was our game of the week when it was during that week. Tampa Bay defeated Buffalo 33-27 in overtime in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium. Tom Brady stuck it to us again. Ugh. Glad he's gone. Glad he's retired. But last meeting in Buffalo was 2017. Buffalo won 30-27. Matter of fact, this is only the fourth time they've met in Buffalo. And the 3 previous times they've played in Buffalo, Buffalo won all 3 times. Tampa Bay has never won in Buffalo. Hope and pray they keep it that way. And the odds, like I said, Buffalo currently opening up as a 9-point favorite, so a very generous spread to say the very least. Look, the Bills have been disappointed by their offensive performances the last 2 weeks, especially JA-17. I believe he will get revved up here in a matchup that will call for him to pass some more, as there's not much point forcing a shaky running game on Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield is struggling now with turnovers and being one-dimensional on a short week versus an angry Buffalo defense does not help. Neither team has looked great the last 2 games, but the Bills won one of those. The Bucs offense has struggled the last 2 weeks. While the Bills have defensive issues with all the injuries, even so, I think the Bills will get back on track in front of the home crowd. Josh Allen is due for a big game. I believe he will have a big game. 27-17, the Buffalo Bills defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And my God, what could have been? If they had gotten by New England, couple that with Miami's loss to Philadelphia, Buffalo would have temporarily been back in first place in the AFC East. But those Patriots stole it from us. Ugh, but whatever. But if we win, we will most certainly be keeping the pressure on MF and the Dolphins. No question about that. And then you two can battle it out on Sunday. Patriots-Dolphins Part 2 in Miami on Sunday. So we'll see what happens with that. And I know I'll be impartial during that game. But MF and Bullock, that's a different story. But we'll see what happens. So 27-17, Buffalo wins. But I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't nervous about this game, because I damn sure am. Must win. They better win this game if they want to have any chance of keeping up with Miami in the AFC East and pulling out a miracle to winning our 4th straight division title for the first time since 88-91. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, take it home. Like I said, as a man of good faith, I congratulate you and your Patriots for that well-deserved win. Hell of a game. You deserve it. But Buffalo, man, if this isn't a must-win game, tell me what is, because this damn sure is.
Yeah, this is definitely a must-win game for your Buffalo Bills, because if they lose this game to the Buccaneers, oh man, that hot seat's only going to get even hotter for this Bills team. I mean, the expectations were like so high for this team, and yeah, this is what we've gotten from them. And so, any other event, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills to win this one as well. I mean, I'm not confident with my pick, but because part of me wanted to actually pull the trigger and say the Bucks will upset them, but yeah, I still got to go with Buffalo. So Buffalo wins. Fletch, I mean, as I give it to you to close it out, I still got Buffalo winning, but I can't believe I'm saying this. I just don't feel comfortable about this because of the way Buffalo's been playing.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with your sentiment either, because I felt that way not too long ago. But we're done. We're out of here. Tomorrow night, College Football Thursday, hosted by Anthony Florio, 10 p.m. Eastern. We're going to get into the latest week of college football action. And then on Friday, we'll talk about the recap of Buffalo and Tampa and the rest of the NFL schedule. That's also going to be at 10 p.m. Um, Saturday, Cerebral Smack Talk, 10:30. SmackDown Live, AEW Collision. And then we do this all over again Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. Thank you, Anthony Playo. Thank you, Michael Bullock. Thank you guys, as always. Like the video, leave a comment at the bottom, share with all your friends on all the social media platforms around the world. Until then, have a good night, everybody, and so long right now. Bye bye.